Hello guys, welcome to the overview of the IE system for Mecanim. Um, First of all, let's take a look on how we can create an IE controller. We click on right mouse button, then go into create and select IE controller. Let's rename it to tutorial controller. Oops. And we open up this controller or the states for this controller by double clicking it, and then we can dock it as any other Unity window. Well, any state is created always and automatically, and this is also handled separately, so all actions in this state will be called separately from others, and it will always call the actions. Or yeah. Let's take a look at our parameters at the left bottom side. Here you can create different values which you can store from actions. So you can store values from actions into the global parameters. Here you can select an animator. This is just optional for pop-ups in actions or conditions. If your menu if this does not look like mine, it's maybe because it's not folded out. So clicking on the title bar here, it will fold out the menus. Yeah, same here. If you click on the title bar, it folds out what's currently in the list. Well, let's take a look on how we can create states. We just click on the right mouse button in this area here, anywhere on an empty place, right click, and then we have options to create a navmesh agent. Um, well, I should rename this to just navmesh because this uses the Unity built-in navmeshes. So this states use the Unity's navmesh, and this states are using the supported Asta pathfinding project. Yeah. So clicking on a simple state will create a new state, and here you can rename it. Simple states can be idle or attack or any other state that does not require movement. So let's call it idle. Here we have only one option that we can do, apply root motion, and this means that the root motion data from the animations will from the animation will be applied to to the agent, or yeah, transform. So if we are using the navmesh, the velocity will be changed, and yeah. Then you have actions here. You have, for example, animator actions, audio, game object. Log is just for debugging. Wait for seconds. For the navmesh again, get the eagle velocity and projected velocity, or you can set also a global parameter which you can define here by this state and then reuse it in other states. well, transform, look at, and set tag. Yeah, let's maybe create a state where we can find a target. So let's choose find closest. This action will find the closest game object in your scene that is tagged as tag. So in this example, it will find the game object that is tagged as player. And then you can't select anything here because you need to create a global parameter. You can create it by clicking this plus icon and then choose game object, and then let's call it player. So if we find a game object in our scene with the tag player, it will store the game object to the global parameter player. Then you can run it in a queue. This means if you have uh, an action, for example, wait for seconds. Here is the queue set automatically to true. So this action will be called, and then it will, when it's finished, the next one will be called, and then when this is finished, the first one will be called again. If you unselect the queue option, then this action will be called. Then this action will be called, the wait for seconds, and immediately this find closest action will be called again. So it does not wait until the wait for seconds action finishes. Yeah. You can change the order of the states by just selecting and drag and drop it to the other action. It's not really flexible at the moment, but I think it's better than the hack I did in the earlier versions. So you have now full control of the source code, because my other reorderable list was basically a hack to the Unity's reorderable list, and now you can, doesn't look very good, but yeah, it does the job. For now, it's, I think, good enough. Maybe I will improve this later on, the dragging. Yeah, well, let's take a look on how we can create transitions. So for this, let's create a new state. Let's say walk state. And then we have to select our idle state. So we want to transition from idle into the walk state. So let's click right mouse button and choose make transition and click on the walk state. If we select the idle state again, we have transitions which will show up here, and conditions that we have to set when we should transition from idle into walk state. And here we can choose from animator conditions or distance, well, game object conditions, distance if the game object is null, and we can also check line of sight or check an attribute value or exit time. Well, attribute value I will explain later. Yeah, well, here we can check a distance, and again we choose the target from the global parameter. So if we don't have a game object here, this will be marked as red and means that it can't be checked. Yeah. What's needed more? Well, I think that's good enough for the beginning. And well, let's see what triggers are. We can create at the moment only 2 triggers. So yeah, on attribute change trigger. Well, this is the trigger where you can define attributes for your agent. So for example, health, then set the value. You can read about all this in the documentation file, what it means, what the maximum value means, what the multiplier value means. Yeah, and on attribute change trigger is called when this attribute is changed by maybe damage, if you apply damage, or if you apply heal and this attribute changes, this state will be applied. You can create transitions the same way. So if the attribute changes, we are going into idle state. You can also add additional conditions here, yeah, to check it in detail if we should really transition from on attribute change to idle. Or here we can also create on trigger enter. This state is, or this trigger is called when our agent moves into a collider that is trigger is set to true, and if the collider has a tag of, I don't know, maybe item. So if a new game object is tagged as item, has a collider, and his collider is set to is trigger equals true, then the state will be called. And same way you create transitions, yeah, or you can also copy the state or delete the state and so on. What you can do also in this version is, if you, let's create a few actions. I don't want to set up them, just for showcase. You can click with the right mouse button on the title bar and then just copy the actions. Then you can select a new state, another one, right click on the actions, and then just paste them. And all your settings will be here. So yeah, it's pretty good. Same for conditions. You can also copy conditions, and yeah, if you make a transition back, maybe you can paste your conditions here also with the settings. Yeah. Well, I think that's enough for the first tutorial. See you in the next.